Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I'll have guests on from the Troup County School System and also from Emmaus Women's Shelter. So you want to stay tuned for those interviews in just a moment. Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Over the years, we've had a number of shows that have spun off from City Week, and recently we had the Healthy Cooking with Jeffrey Tucker that is now taking place. And I'd like to just kind of introduce a young lady today that will be conducting and doing her own show very shortly. We have the Public Relations Director from the Troup County School, Tina Duckett. Tina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you, and I know that pretty soon you'll be conducting Spotlight on Education that will be focusing on a lot of the schools around the Troup County School area. But first of all, before we get started with that, talking about what some of the things you'll cover, talk a little bit about your job as the Public Relations Director.
Well, I am the Public Relations Director for Troup County School System, and I have had the pleasure of serving in this particular position for almost a year now. And in this position, it is my job to interact with our community to keep them informed about our schools, about news and different events and activities that are taking place. And we are excited that we'll have that opportunity through Spotlight on Education. So.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it's so, you know, education is, you know, I can say the buzzword, but it's so important in the lives of not only our young people, but for those of us that have, you know, come out of matriculated for some years ago to go back and get some refresher courses as well. And, you know, and I think education is very important in your household, because not only are you in the Troup County School System, but I think your husband as well works in the Troup County School System. Talk about that a little bit.
He does. He has been with Troup County School System now, I want to say, for the past 3 or 4 years as one of the support staff at the Hope Academy. Okay. So he's working with our alternative school.
Okay, and that is so important too, you know, there at the school where you have those support individuals to help the young people to understand that even though you may be here in this position today, that doesn't have to be the end of the road for you, whatever. That's
right, that's right. We have goals, and we are fortunate and consider ourselves blessed to work in education to support our children.
Well, very good. Now, children of your own?
Yes, okay. we have two beautiful children, one at the elementary level and one at the middle school level. Okay.
And how is it for them having both parents that are educators in the household? What is it like for them?
They are used to it. Even in our church, we volunteer and we've worked with children for years in some capacity as mentors, as tutors. And in my previous employment, I worked with communities and schools, and that is a nonprofit organization whose focus is to help children stay in school. So we've always had a mission and a heart for children.
Very good. And you said communities in school. A lot of the viewing audience perhaps have heard of or may have been a part of communities in school, which again, as you stated, tries to help young people realize that, hey, education is the important piece. Not only were you with communities in school, I think you also worked with Georges in school as well?
Well, I did. Communities in Schools of Troup County. I started in 2000 and I worked from 2000 to 2006, and then I transplanted and moved to Communities in Schools of Georgia, where I worked there from 2006 to 2011. And with my children being very active here in the community, I had the opportunity to come back home, if you will. Okay. And so I've enjoyed my time here with the school system.
Well, very good. Well, let's just talk about a little bit, because we're going to be spotlighting spotlight on education. And you know, when you bring things to the light, it just kind of helps people to understand it so much. And I think back to like when my boys were in school, in high school particularly, I knew they had various things that they had to do, and of course they were involved in sports, and you saw those things. But a lot of times the parent feels like, okay, you send your child off to school, then it's the teachers and all the administrators' responsibility to educate them and teach them the things that they need to know. But that's not the full, I guess, gamut of it, because the parents have to be so involved in their child's education. Talk about that a little bit. How do you feel?
Well, we encourage parental involvement and engagement. We encourage parents to know your school administrators, your principals, assistant principals, instructional specialists, become involved in PTO organizations, because that is how you learn the culture and environment of the school. It also shows your child that you're very interested in their education, which places some level of value in that child's mind that, hey, this must be important because mom, dad, auntie, grandma, or whoever it is who has the responsibility of raising that child is involved in education. And it's important to do homework. It's important to sit with your children to go over their assignments and to make sure that they're on task. And that communicates so much that will translate in years to come.
Absolutely. You know, those saying it takes a village to raise a child.
Certainly.
It still holds true today, you know, and education is the key that will help the children and as I stated, the older adults as well, to make sure that that village is a healthy, strong village that it needs to be.
Certainly.
Now let's talk a little bit, Spotlight on Education. I know that your first show that you're going to be talking about is going to probably be the second most important thing other than education, and that you're going to be talking about food and nutrition. Because, you know, so many advertisements and commercials say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yes.
So you're going to delve right into
We're
that.
going to talk about that.
Talk
yes.
about that. What are you looking for?
Well, with Spotlight on Education, we thought, how can we share with the community using various methods to communicate with them what happens in our schools? Because oftentimes people will tell our stories, but nobody can tell it like we can. So we are so honored to have LGTV 19 support us in this initiative with Spotlight on Education. And our hope is to inform and better educate our community about what's happening in schools, the different programs, student successes, teacher accomplishments. There's so much good happening every day, and it's time that the community learns about it.
Okay, well, very good. Now, because I know even in the high school, I have a nephew in high school, and I asked him, I said, well, do you eat the school lunches? And they're like, no, I don't want to say what they say, it's on the cook, or we don't have a wide selection. Because I know that you're going to be going into various schools, but when you showcase the one on nutrition, what are some of the things that kids need to know about?
Well, today, when we host our very first Spotlight on Education program, we will invite guests from our food and nutrition department, and they will share information that parents, guardians, even students need to know as it relates to why we serve, what we serve, and how we serve it. So they will hear from people who are working hands-on with in this particular department with this initiative, and they will gain insight on some of the guidelines that we must follow as a school system receiving federal funding support.
Okay, and so you say federal funding support and guidelines, because the food that is prepared, I know back, I'm going to kind of date my age here a little bit. I remember it used to be the pyramid,
right,
and the basic 4 food groups, and now I think it may be, I don't know what it's going to now.
Well, it has expanded, and I'm not the expert on that piece, but if they tune in later today, they'll have an opportunity to hear more about.
Okay, all right. So we're going to be talking about food and nutrition, and then I guess the other thing that kids have to understand when you're talking about preparing meals in bulk quantity, like the school systems have to prepare, quite naturally it's not going to be like mom or dad's meal at home. Well,
there are certain regulations, even with what can be used and the amount of spices that can be used to give our food what we know as flavor. Because the federal guidelines stipulate that we're moving away from the fried foods and the foods that are high in saturated and trans fats. So, and we're to follow those guidelines because, first of all, I think as a parent and a community member, concerned community members, we want our children to have healthy minds and bodies. And so that happens with a healthy nutritional meal.
That's right.
And that's served through our food and nutrition department.
Very good. And I know that the ladies and the men in those areas do a wonderful job. I know when I was in the school system doing the DARE program, you know, all of the ladies knew me and I knew all of them, and they knew the things that I don't like. Okra, I'm just going to say it, I don't like okra, okay? And they would know whenever they would do soup, they would try to dip around it so that I didn't get any okra. But, you know, spotlighting on education, I think, like you said, a lot of times we turn the news on, and the first 15, I'm not going to mention any station, but the first 15, 20 minutes of it is normally, you know, things that have happened, things that have gone on. So it's not a positive message. So, but when you're talking about spotlighting on education, you know, our young people need to have those great things that they're doing in the school system spotlighted and highlighted. I think you're going to be, I'm looking at your schedule, you're going to be pretty busy here.
Yes.
And this is going to be,
Yes.
how frequent will your show be aired, Tina?
It seems that the schedule is set at this point at about every 2 weeks we will showcase one of our schools.
Okay, all right. And I guess you'll range from topics ranging from?
Oh gosh, we have left that at the discretion of our principals, so it could range from what's happening with a particular program or a new initiative that's taking place, and it could venture all the way into what PTO is doing that helps support some of the supplemental needs and goals of the school. So I think that our viewers can expect an array of topics, but I know that they will walk away informed.
Very good. It's so important that you get a better understanding. I'm just looking at your list here, just to, not to single out anybody, but it looks like you're going to be going to Hollis Hand and also Long Cane Middle School, both in the month of September,
Yes.
with other schools to follow. So we definitely will be looking for those programs. And I remember I was in the grocery store. I have a young friend out at Long Cane Middle School that he watches my show. Logan is his name, so I don't know if Logan is still there at Long Cane Middle School, but we just want to say to Logan and all the members there at Long Cane Middle School, look out, because Spotlight on Education is coming their way, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
very good. So Tina, let me ask you now, other than being informed, what else do you want the viewing audience to take away from your program?
That they too can get involved. Because this will be an opportunity for them to learn about various initiatives, and just in listening they may walk away saying, hey, that's something I can contribute to, I can support, I can give my time to. And we want our community to know that our doors are open to receive healthy support, because our children need it, our staff needs it, in terms of being a cohesive team as a community, because let's face it, schools are one of the pillars of our community, and we do have a strong school system. We have a vibrant, growing school system, and it is progressive, and in order for us to continue to move forward, everybody has to jump in and help out. So we know that they'll walk away with opportunities to learn about the schools, but opportunities to see how they can get involved.
Well, very good. I think on that's a great closing point to get involved. Well, Tina, we're looking forward to Spotlight on Education. I know you do a wonderful job, and just wish you the very best in all the programs. And by all means, I'll be tuning in. And don't be surprised, you may see me in the audience one day.
Well, we'd be glad to have you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tina.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back for more City Week in just a moment. Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have on a guest from Emmaus Women's Shelter, the Outreach and Development and Special Events Coordinator, Jessica David. Jessica, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, I can tell you're excited. Did you eat some sugar perhaps before you came, Jessica?
Well, I'm inspired. I don't always even need sugar.
Okay, all right. Well, Jessica, I know that you're the Outreach and Development and Special Events Coordinator. Talk a little bit about what that entails, and then we want to talk a little bit about Emmaus Women's Shelter too, okay?
Okay. Well, as a person responsible for outreach, that means that I try to help all of the homeless women that we serve at Emmaus Women's Shelter resupply her toolkit, if you will, with the gifts and talents she needs to explore to get back out on her feet and be restored to wholeness. And so while I personally am not responsible for the intake of our homeless clients, I am very involved with helping them leave the shelter successfully.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. And talk a little bit about Emmaus Women's Shelter for us. And I know that a lot of the community have heard and may have even visited where you guys are located. Talk a little bit about Emmaus Women's Shelter for us.
Well, we're an organization that started in 2009, and it was literally a collision of passionate people that were very concerned about homelessness in our community all at the same time. And it was as if the Lord just connected us all in the same conversation, and we realized the resources we had for such an issue were on the table. And so within months, I was partnered with, actually, my mother actually is involved, and her best friend, Miss Kay Elam, who is our director, and some other organizations around town. We started a women's day center first, and then an emergency shelter quickly thereafter. And that actually literally happened because we had all had a homeless woman we tried to provide care for, and realized that this community needed a place for them, that all of our personal homes weren't necessarily the right solution. And so since 2009, we have served over 500 women and their families, like 500 women and children, through the day center and through the emergency shelter. And our day center is open to all women, all day long, Monday through Friday. And it's a great place for a woman who is facing any kind of crisis or having a need, because in our hearts we would like to prevent homelessness. Mm-hmm. We would like to reduce stress on families. Mm-hmm. We would like to come through with that emergency food box, or those clean jeans, or shoes for the child, before the family does something drastic. Mm-hmm. I'm taking care of a homeless family right now that made the mistake of shoplifting, and that caused their homelessness. Mm-hmm. If they had come to my day center first, they would have been fed and clothed, and been able to use their, then they wouldn't have made the mistake, obviously. Right. And so the day center is there to prevent homelessness and help all women Monday through Friday. And then it has computers and clothes and hot showers, Okay. And then our emergency shelter is open every night of the year.
And you were talking about the day center. I wanted to jump in there, and you're saying that, at the day center is pretty much just that. They come there for the day, and mm-hmm. they get those services, and then they go back.
We were fortunately inspired through my experiences in the past with homeless people and my studies in Atlanta of different homeless organizations. I've been on both sides of the fence, serving the organizations that take care of homeless people, but then working with homeless myself. And I've actually been doing that since I was inspired when I was about 9, and I was in Washington, D.C. and took care of homeless people on a tourist trip. I've always had a heart for them. But in my experience, 24-hour facilities tend to create problems with people that don't know how to develop new skills to leave the house in the morning, if mm-hmm. you will. And so our day center is a business place for a woman to come practice good work habits. Okay. And so she doesn't live there at nighttime. She can only come there during the daytime.
Okay, well, very good. And I guess, again, going back to, I just want to say, you give a person a fish, they eat for a day, but you teach them to fish, mm-hmm. and they eat for a lifetime.
Yes,
so
sir.
That concept.
Absolutely. We are definitely a Bible-based organization, okay. and our dedication to the Lord comes first. And we are committed to letting Him provide for our needs and trust Him for all of His inspiration and His provision. And it's in the name of Jesus that we serve our sisters in the community. And it's so important that women have a place where they can come and find compassionate resources, so that she can find, many women are broken and in broken families, but they still have a need for family. And so we're like a surrogate family in many ways. And we absolutely care for fathers and daddies. And when we have an intact homeless family, I drop everything and work on that, okay. because we want to protect a family first.
Absolutely. The family is so important. And I know that most of the viewing audience perhaps know where Emmaus Women's Shelter is located. If you don't mind, just tell them real quickly where you guys are located. And then we want to talk about what you have here and what's going on to kind of help assist Emmaus House.
Oh, good.
Tell them first of all, Jessica, where you guys are located.
Okay. If you head toward the farmers market on Greenville Street, you can come visit our day center Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. It's a red brick building on the left, sort of nondescript, but in a very safe neighborhood, so everybody is welcome to come by. We try to be ministers to both our donors, our volunteers, and our clients. And so on Greenville Street at 321 Greenville Street is the public day center, where you can come do community service. You can come for emergency food boxes, case management, counseling. And when the city, has a person downtown and they just don't know how to minister to them, we're really outside the downtown footprint, but we're not so far away that we can't be walked to, mm-hmm. because we're on the way to the farmers market. We're on that street.
Okay, well, very good. And I know that this year, funding and everything like that has been kind of, tight for a lot of the nonprofit organizations as well as your location. You're having an event that's going to be coming up where people can get involved. And I know that, occasionally you all have yard sales and you have fundraising drives and things of that nature. Let's just say someone that was listening wanted to get involved by making a donation, how can they do that, Jessica?
Well, we would be delighted if they would visit us online at EmmausShelter.com and give that way. We can accept gifts through PayPal and other major credit cards online at EmmausShelter.com. And we also invite people to support us through the sharing of their gifts and talents and goods. Okay. We accept household items, clothing, we accept recycling and metal, and we appreciate financial support. You know, a good old $20 bill goes a long way, and writing a check would be helpful. And the reason that is a good investment for people to consider is that what we can offer in 24 hours for a woman including her getting a bed every night, it's only $23 for her to get meals, snacks, all that counseling, the opportunity for a makeover wardrobe wise, and people that care about her and will take care of her. And it's $23 a night, and that is a third of what it would cost for a homeless person to be incarcerated.
Absolutely. Okay. Now you have a bracelet there, Jessica.
Yes, I do.
Oh, beside this ice cream that we're going to talk about here momentarily, the bracelet. Talk about the bracelet there for us.
Well, I am excited that I'm going to get to leave it with you. I brought this today as a present. I know that you like to exercise, and this is my neon colored bracelet, and it is one of a series of bracelets we have in our Survivor bracelet series. These are the paracord bracelets, but these represent how a mother can sustain her family through additional income by making a handicraft. So a mother makes these for us, and we are selling them to raise money for the shelter. And if you pull it apart, it does have a full cord you can use in a survival situation, and then you can re-braid it and put it back on. So you can, take it with you everywhere. And we're going to have these available at the Miss Emma's Ice Cream Crankin' at our little craft store. Okay. And I would love for you to have one.
All right, we'll slide it on.
And be our official model for our Survivor bracelets.
Well,
that's a new style. Not everybody's seen it with the special cord down the middle. So if your kids are interested in being very cool at school, I would love to share a bracelet with them.
And it goes well with my shirt.
It does.
Right. Absolutely. Now let's talk about. I know that we've seen these beautiful items sitting here. Miss Emma's Ice Cream Cranking Social. What is that all about?
Well, it's Miss Emma's because some people get a little tongue-tied when they say Emmaus, and I get so many phone calls from people that say, is this the Emma's house, and so Emma is sort of our nickname.
Okay.
And this Ice Cream Crankin' Social is going to be this Sunday, and it's a celebration of family downtown on the square around the fountain. And many of our friends out there have been to the chili cook-off. Well, think chili, but substitute ice cream. And so kids are going to be able to just taste all the ice cream they want to. And I have a contest right now going for people who will make homemade ice cream, and they can enter it to be judged and win prizes. So if there are any crankers out there who have a special recipe of like vanilla and jalapeno or peach and pecan, we are interested in extremely interesting. And to enter the contest, it's only 2 gallons of ice cream that will then be shared at the event. And we're selling tickets to families who would like to come and celebrate their family that afternoon.
Okay. All right. And that's going to be August the 26th on the downtown square.
Yep. After church from 2 to 4.
Okay. Very good.
Look for the big ice cream cone.
The big ice cream cone. All right. And I was just looking at your flyer here. You have categories from best chocolate base, best taste, best fruit flavor. So again, we want to invite the public to come out. Is there I guess the entry fee you're saying is 2 gallons of the ice cream, correct?
To be judged.
To be judged. Okay. All right. Okay. So, but if they want to just come out and taste ice cream,
right? They will buy a family pass for $20, and that can be up to 6 family members.
Oh.
All the ice cream your family can eat for $20 is a really good deal.
Now, is that going to be a big bowl, Jessica?
Oh, it's going to be mini little bowls.
A mini little bowl. Okay.
So unless you buy one of my special cups.
Okay. One of the special cups. All right. Well, Jessica, that sounds like a wonderful event that will be taking place. Again, that will be August the 26th. After church from 2 until 4 in downtown LaGrange. To be around the square?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
yeah, the City of LaGrange has been kind enough to lend us that space, and we appreciate their partnership and support so much. And we are really doing this to celebrate the families that make LaGrange so wonderful, because they've given us this privilege of taking care of these lesser families who have fallen to the bottom of the rungs. And if we didn't have an awesome community like LaGrange that was already so healthy, they wouldn't even be paying attention to these sweet people that we're finding to serve. And it's interesting, you just had the school lady on. You know, we enjoy when we have the opportunity to help keep a child on track, and it's a partnership.
Okay. Well, Jessica, I want to thank you very much for coming on and sharing this information. And I know that would be a wonderful success, because I don't know of anyone that can't think of that doesn't like
Not
ice
like
cream.
ice cream? Good.
Absolutely.
It's the social every church has been meaning to plan. We invite your church to come on out and have their ice cream social with us.
Thank
and
you
we
very
expect you to be there. Would you like to come be a judge?
I don't know if I want to take on that job, but I want to taste, okay?
Okay, good. All right.
Jessica, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
I'm so glad you had me.
All
Thank
right,
you.
very good. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been from the Troup County School System, the Public Relations Director, Tina Duckett, as she talked about Spotlight on Education. And she told you that she'll be visiting some of the schools in the area to spotlight various events there. So make sure that you stay tuned for those upcoming shows. Also, I had on from Emmaus Women's Shelter, Jessica David, as she talked about the upcoming Miss Emma's Cranking that will be taking place on the square on August the 26th. So come out and sample some of the great, wonderful ice creams. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed those interviews. And as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.